Hello my gorgeous friends of Webflow, it's your friendly neighborhood Francesco from Superside here. Today's video is a special one, because we're going to uncover everything you need to know about classes in Webflow. Now, I know you might be thinking, classes? Isn't that one of the first things you learn? Technically, yes, but also no. The truth is, the concept of a class in Webflow seems simple at first, until you start renaming things, duplicating, adding combo classes, or trying to understand what global class actually means. That's when confusion kicks in. So, this video is here to fix that once and for all. We'll clear up every doubt, destroy a few myths, and even expose some common misconceptions that might be slowing you down. By the end of it, you'll understand not just what classes are, but how they really work under the hood, so you can finally use them with confidence and precision in all your projects. If you're looking forward to it as much as I am, stick around, and if you find my videos helpful and want to support my work, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. But now, if you're ready to master one of the most fundamental and misunderstood concepts in Webflow, let's dive in. Let's start by asking, what exactly is a class? Well, technically speaking, a class is a label, a name that we assign to one or more HTML elements to connect them to a set of style rules defined in CSS. In other words, it tells the browser, every element with this class should look like this. Classes are the foundation of how styling works in Webflow. Every visual change you make, every color, every font size is always tied to a class. That's why understanding them properly is so important. But let's make it a bit more visual. Imagine every element inside your page, every div, every section, as a person. At the beginning, they are completely naked. No clothes, no style, no identity. When you assign a class to one of them, it's like giving that person an outfit. And the cool thing is that this outfit isn't unique, it's reusable. You can give the same clothes to as many people as you want. So, a class is like a model of t-shirt that you designed. You can put it on 10 people or 100 and they'll all share the same look. And since you're the designer, you can decide exactly how that t-shirt looks. Its color, its shape, the little details that make it yours. Now, from this base outfit, Webflow and CSS in general, let's us go further. Maybe you want some people wearing the same shirt, but with a hat or a jacket. A small variation for a special occasion. Or maybe you want to rename your model, or even create a new one starting from the old one. Same base, but slightly different style. We'll go into all of that soon. Renaming, duplicating, combo classes, and more. But first, let's make sure we really understand how classes work and why they're so powerful inside Webflow. Alright, let's start with the simplest operation, renaming a class. In Webflow, you can do this in two ways. Either by clicking the small arrow next to the class name in the style panel, or by using the shortcut Command or Control Shift Enter after selecting the element. As the name suggests, this just lets you change the name of an existing class. Nothing more, nothing less. So imagine that at some point you decide that the name of your clothing model doesn't really fit anymore. You go from amazing card to look at my card. You're not creating a new outfit, you're just giving the same one a new label. And because you're changing the model's name, not a single shirt, this update affects all the elements that were wearing that same outfit. So, if you had a class called hero-section and rename it to main-hero, every element that used hero-section will now be updated to main-hero automatically. And don't worry, Webflow takes care of everything behind the scenes. You're only changing the name, not the design. But sometimes you don't just want to rename it, you want a version that looks similar but behaves differently. And that's when duplicating comes in handy. Let's say you already have a card with a vertical layout, and now you want to design another one, this time horizontal. You want to keep the same padding, the same border radius, maybe even the same box shadow, but change a few details, like the background color, add a thin border, and of course switch the layout from vertical to horizontal. In Webflow, you can do this super easily by clicking the small arrow next to the class name in the style panel and selecting Duplicate Class. When you duplicate a class, Webflow creates a brand new class that copies all the styles from the original one, but from that moment on, it's completely independent. You can edit it freely without affecting the first version at all. It's like cloning your outfit and then customizing the new one however you want. Same base, different style. And if duplicating feels too much because you only want a small variation, that's when combo classes come into play. Let's take a look. Alright, things are about to get a bit more interesting and maybe a little more complex too. Let's talk about combo classes. Remember, this is not the same as duplicating a class. When you duplicate, you get a completely new class. When you add a combo class, you're layering a variation on top of an existing one. In Webflow, adding a combo class basically means stacking a new class on top of an existing one that we can call the base class. You can do it by clicking right after the class name in the style panel or with the shortcut Command or Control Enter after selecting your element. Now, think of this like adding an accessory to your outfit, maybe a scarf or a tie for your evening suit. You're not changing the whole outfit, just adding something on top to customize it. For example, imagine you have a card and you add a combo class called has-border. As the name suggests, that variation is used to simply add a solid border to the existing design. But combo classes can also override styles that come from the base class. So instead of just adding an accessory, it's like tailoring the outfit itself. Shortening the sleeves, changing the fabric, or tightening the fit around the shoulders. For instance, you could give your card a combo class called CC-darker-background to make its background darker than the base version. Or you could give your button a combo class like is-secondary to make its background transparent. Change the text color and maybe remove the border altogether. In CSS terms, what Webflow does here is apply both classes, something like card has dash border. But inside Webflow, that combination is kinda saved as a unique style, which means that combo class is tied to its base class. You cannot use it anywhere else. It's like those accessories we mentioned earlier, custom made to match that specific outfit and no other. Now, here's something interesting. Even though a combo class can only be applied to the base class it was created for, you can still create multiple combo classes with the same name. For example, a has-border for your card and another has-border for your section. But these are actually separate entities. They look the same, but they don't share any connection. Each one lives inside its own base class, so changing one won't affect the other at all. And that's exactly why, if you ever want a single reusable style that works across multiple elements, like a true has border that everyone can wear, you'll need to use a global class. So, we just talked about combo classes, variations that belong to a specific base class. But what if you want a style you can reuse anywhere, no matter what the base class is? That's where global classes come in. As the name suggests, a global class is a class you can apply anywhere, to any element on top of any other class, just like an accessory that matches any outfit. So, while a global class is tailored for a specific base class, a global class is designed to be universal. In most projects, designers create this directly inside their style guide. You just drop a div block, give it a name, usually something that starts with G- for global or U- for universal, and then style only one property. For example, G-background-red to set the background color to red, or U-border-radius-8 pixels to set the border radius to 8 pixels. Of course, you don't have to use this naming convention. The important thing is to stay consistent throughout your project. Now, let's stop for a second and think about this. When we create a global class, we're basically just creating a new class and styling it. So, is there really any difference between a regular class and a global class? Well, technically, no. They're exactly the same. The difference lies in how we use them. A regular class defines a complete outfit, a finished look with multiple properties that shape the entire element. A global class, instead, is meant to control just one small aspect: the border radius, the background color, the font weight, a little accessory that complements the main style without completely redefining it. Now, compared to combo classes, the difference is simple. A combo class can only exist inside the base class it was created for, while a global class can be added anywhere, regardless of whether that element already has a base class, a combo class, or no class at all. But, and this is important, once you add a global class to an element that already has another class, something subtle happens. Webflow technically turns that combination into a combo class. You can even see it right there in the style panel, the base class followed by your global class name, just like any other combo. So, instead of just G-background-red, you now have card G-background-red. It's like you bought a new accessory and tailored it to fit a specific outfit. From that moment on, it belongs to that outfit. It's no longer universal in that instance. And if you edit that element afterwards, those changes won't affect the original global class anymore. Only that specific version tied to that element. So, the global class itself stays clean and reusable, but the moment you modify it locally, you've basically created your own variation. To wrap up our deep dive into classes in Webflow, there's one last thing we cannot ignore: what actually happens to the class names we assign once our project is published. Why should we even care about this? Well, sometimes you'll need to write a few lines of custom code, maybe a CSS snippet or a bit of JavaScript, to change how certain elements look or behave. And in those cases, knowing exactly how Webflow transforms class names behind the scenes can save you a lot of confusion. Now, you could always just inspect the page, look at the element, and read the class attribute directly. Quick and easy. But let's understand the logic behind these transformations. Here's how Webflow cleans up your class names before publishing. Uppercase letters become lowercase. Spaces turn into hyphens. If the class name starts with a number, Webflow adds an underscore before it. If it starts with a hyphen, that hyphen gets ignored. Emojis are completely stripped out, and special characters like this are also ignored. So, if you ever see a class like hero section, on the live side it becomes hero-section. Webflow basically makes sure your class names are clean, safe, and compatible with how CSS actually works, which is great news for anyone who likes to add custom code now and then. So now, if you ever find yourself writing a few lines of code, you'll know exactly how to target your classes safely. And honestly, Webflow cleans up our class names better than we sometimes clean up our own style guide. And with that, we've reached the end of our little journey through everything you need to know about classes in Webflow. I hope this helped you get more comfortable with how classes work and gave you a clearer picture of how to use them confidently in your own projects. Alright, before we wrap things up, let's quickly recap what we learned today. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about classes in Webflow, from the basics all the way to global classes and what happens behind the scenes. Once you start using classes the right way, you'll notice how much cleaner, faster and more consistent your projects become. Remember, every single change you make in Webflow starts with a class. So, the better you understand them, the more control and confidence you'll have in your builds. Don't forget, there's a clonable project linked in the description so you can play around with the classes yourself and test different scenarios and combinations. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more Webflow tips and tricks. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Matane!